Hello and welcome to the LRM podcast, sponsored by Adrian Flux Insurance. I'm Martin Dominy.
And I'm Steve Miller.
And you join us for an hour of chat about Land Rovers and everything to do with owning them. Well, it seems like winter's arrived, Steve.
It certainly has.
It's arrived as suddenly as anything, and now it's freezing cold. They've got snow up north, and it's cold, isn't it? It is cold.
We've had snow here, and we're in the East Midlands.
I've not had snow where I live.
You live in the Fens, though.
Bit of sleet.
Yeah, no, we've had snow.
Oh,
We've still got snow. Hasn't melted.
really?
Yeah.
I've not seen any meaningful snow here, but it is brave.
It just fell on my garden then, did it?
Must have done. It is bitterly cold out, and it got me thinking. Has this caught anyone out?
What, in their vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, they always say, don't they? You always get these emails about preparing for winter, and it made me think that there are certain things you can do to your Land Rover to sort of preempt the cold weather. And actually, a lot of them are checks you should be doing anyway.
Well, you need to tell me what they are, because I'll tell you why. So I used my Land Rover yesterday and today, and it was absolutely freezing.
Yeah.
And I realised how drafty it is.
Really?
Yeah. You know the vents you get on a Defender?
Yes.
So the one on the passenger side always has that little whistle.
Mm.
Well, that whistle's now a very, very cold breeze.
I should imagine it is.
Yeah.
We looked at that before, didn't we, at Britpart, and it was either the pin or the vent flap itself is warped, isn't it?
I think the vent panel itself is warped, but yeah, it's turned into a really cold draft. And I know the heater isn't. The heaters are. I'm turning into one of those people, oh, my heater's crap. But it was pretty cold. And it takes ages to warm up.
It only takes a small draft, especially in the wrong place, to make the whole cabin feel freezing.
Yeah.
Quite often on Defenders, you get it where the door seal doesn't pinch quite closed completely, sort of down by your hip when you're driving, and that air just rushes in past your leg, and it is excruciatingly cold when you're going fast.
So I've got it in the top right-hand corner where the door top meets the seal, or doesn't in this case, and each seal, so I can see a bit of daylight, which is where you get water ingress as well.
Yeah.
I mean, are we getting a bit soft for drafty and cold Land Rovers and leaking?
The thing is, though, when they're, you can sort them out so they are pretty good. You're never going to get the whole cabin sealed perfectly, because it is like loads of different panels overlapping and not quite lining up, and you are going to get little gaps here and there, but you can get them, pretty good. But
yeah,
comfort aside, there are things you can do to sort of make sure your Land Rover is going to be as reliable and comfortable as it can be when the cold weather hits. Why don't you kick us off with one?
Right, so I'm going to kick off with windscreen fluid. My pet hate...
Your washer fluid?
Yeah, washer fluid.
Yeah.
My pet hate is when it freezes up.
Okay.
It's down to not putting enough.
Not making it concentrated enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, actually. There's something people might overlook, because in the summer, people just put, neat water in, don't they? And
do you know what, right? So if you put neat water in constantly, you'll end up with a rotten egg smell.
yes, I have come across that.
Yeah.
Also, certain brands of screen wash, if you leave it long enough, especially when it's warm, it becomes like jelly. I think some of the cheaper supermarket brands, I don't know exactly which ones, but you get it and it clogs the pump up, and when it does finally come out of the jets, it's like this horrible, like someone throwing Vaseline at your windscreen. It's grim. Yeah.
I've not had that.
Oh,
I go through quite a bit of screen wash.
yeah.
And what I haven't understood, right, is a lot of people go and buy the pre-mixed screen wash.
Yeah, I've seen.
Why?
It is expensive, isn't it, for what you get?
You buy it in water, essentially. Just go and buy the stuff that's concentrate and then mix it yourself.
Yeah.
But I tend to mix mine like 50-50 now, this time of year.
For this time of year, you need to, really, because you can't drive anywhere even when the roads are dry. The amount of crud and dirt and horrible, especially when they salt the roads as well, it just builds up, and you just get hammered with it from all directions when you're driving in traffic.
Definitely, the front of a Defender definitely gets the windscreens get absolutely covered.
And lights as well.
Yeah.
My Freelander 2 just seems that the lights are like magnets for road dirt, and you have to clean them regularly, otherwise you forget driving at night. It's awful.
Tell you what I've noticed, right? So I've got LED headlights in my 90, and when you drive in snow, there's no heat from the lamps to burn the snow off.
Yes,
So you got
a lot of
so
modern cars are really struggling with this, but there's loads and loads of documentation on it, on like Teslas and things like that. As soon as you get snow on the front of them, you're blind because there's no heat from the headlights, no heat from the engine bay. The front of the car just builds up with snow.
Yeah, so you got to keep wiping them.
Yeah.
But I think lights, I mean, this time of year, I mean, like this morning, so I had a frost, drive to work. I saw another 90 today. Guy had a shirt and tie on. He was driving his 90, and I thought,
Gone for the gentleman look.
he's gone for the gentleman look. But and he waved, to be fair to him.
Legend.
But I think because of the road conditions, he's brought his Land Rover out for a journey to work.
It may be.
He didn't look, when some people don't look like they belong in a Land Rover? Because I don't know, I'm describing myself here, but he was driving, he looked like he was going to the office
Yeah.
in a car that he wouldn't ordinarily drive.
Okay.
But I think it's because the roads are really not that great, and I don't think they've gritted the roads around here.
No, I don't think they have either. But what always makes me smile is the polarized opinions on, people with like classic stuff tend to go, the road's getting bad weather is coming, I'm going to lock the Land Rover up so it doesn't get salty and corrode. And other people who drive like a normal two-wheel drive car every day, they go, the roads are getting bad, the bad weather's coming, I'm going to get the Land Rover out. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Isn't it odd?
A bit strange. But someone said to me yesterday, you'll be right in whatever the snow does because you've got a Land Rover. But they're not always the best car for the snow and the ice.
No, not necessarily. And let's not forget another big thing we were going to talk about, actually, when it comes to driving in cold weather, tyres. Your vehicle is only ever as good as the tyres it's on.
Yeah, but like, you can have the best tyres in the world. If that road is covered in ice, and because some people drive 4x4s or opt for one in the winter, drive it like they would ordinarily drive anything else, but don't consider the road conditions.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they try to stop, and they can't because you've got the excessive weight of a 4x4 vehicle, and they can't stop, and they skid.
I'd like to think that generally people who drive Land Rovers are reasonably
switched on.
Yeah, switched on when it comes to that sort of thing. But you see a lot of people in generally quite prestige brand for SUVs, I guess you'd call them, literally slinging them around on like snow.
It's like, I think that's 4x4, I'll be fine.
Instantly invincible.
They're the first ones you see in the ditch.
I actually saw an Audi Q7 smash into a curb once in the snow because he overtook me. I was driving, to the conditions, possibly a little bit on the cautious side.
Well, that bit you did.
And he flew past me and then went into a village and he folded the driver's side front wheel under the car because he'd like lost it and smashed up a curb and ruined it. And I thought, well, but that's silly sausage.
But I was saying, so on route to work this morning, although I saw that one Land Rover, most people were in normal cars.
Yeah.
And you've still got people that scrape just enough to see.
Oh, I know.
Greens.
Little blows off as you go down the road.
Yeah, not even that, just like an iced up windscreen, and they've got like a little peephole, and they're like peering out the window. Yeah, but it is actually an offence.
Yeah, it
Points
is.
your licence.
Do you remember in the magazines of not that long ago, actually, Land Rover mags, the old Ken Lowe electric fan advert, and it is literally a bloke peeking through.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
In the ice on his windscreen, because they say an electric fan gets your engine up to temperature quicker, which it can do.
I see the benefit, but again, you can retrofit heat. I've thought to myself, actually, like retrofitting a heated screen in my Land Rover. Every summer I go, I don't need one of them. And now I go, look, I could do one of them.
I got in the Freelander 2 this morning.
Yeah, I noticed.
Started it up, heated seat on, heated windscreen on, and rear windscreen. And within 30 seconds to a minute, I just had to scrape the side windows because the heater doesn't come through instantly, but it's just so convenient in cold weather. It's so good. But yeah, you were saying about, and actually I mentioned about the LED lights on the front of modern cars not melting the snow, but we can take some good points from even EV cars now, because instead of having like a heat pump or like a traditional heater, they rely a lot more on things you touch being heated. So like your seat, your steering wheel, front and rear screens being heated. If you can add all those things into a Land Rover of any age, maybe not heated steering wheel, but you can put gloves on or whatever, you're already like a lot further ahead in being comfortable and ready to drive. But a heated windscreen is a huge upgrade, and I think a lot of people sort of sleep on that a little bit. It's a really, really good one. And there's kits available now.
My Defender does mist up quite a lot. Even in the summer, you get that misting, don't you? And the blowers just aren't that good. I've got to tell you, those Defender demisters.
Yeah.
So I've got a pair of those, and I'm not sure. I'll be honest, how I feel about them, because they take some of the this pathetic airflow away from the windscreen and direct some of it to the side screen.
Yeah, so they're like screw-on tubes, aren't they? That go from
directional.
Your twin vents in the top of the dash, which normally go onto the windscreen. They channel some of the air to the side windows, don't they?
They do, but the trouble is, what I've found, if I was being totally honest, if you get like the full air vent from a traditional vent, up the windscreen, by the time it's cleared that, the air hasn't got far to go to the side screens.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm noticing that, they're still not helping me that much.
Currently people use them, but it'd be interesting to know what other people think of them.
I think I need to clean the windows on the inside.
Yeah.
I heard a tip, right, from somebody that if you use a little bit of shaving foam, I've not tried this.
Right.
Not excessive, but a small amount of shaving foam on a cloth and wipe the inside of your windscreen, it doesn't mist up.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Do you know what
I've heard this, and I heard it from a good source. Somebody that it's a valet cars for a living.
Wow, I've never heard of that. That's cool if that works.
I need to try it. Shall I try it and report back?
Please do. That would be like genuine investigative journalism.
Yeah. What brands I use? Like Gillette, the best a man can get.
Well, the best your windscreen can get. One thing I used to use on the Series 3 a lot, and will probably use again, is Rain-X. You can get like a twin pack, so you get the stuff you put on the outside that stops the rain. It helps it bead off a lot faster, so you don't rely on the wipers as much. But they also do an anti-misting liquid, which you put on the inside of the screen. It does help.
It's probably shaving foam.
Do you reckon it's just distilled?
Well, there might be something that's in both of those things.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. But another good tip that I actually only learnt a couple of days ago is Land Rovers. Obviously, you mentioned about them not sealing up brilliantly, and you get a little bit of water ingress. If you put a dehumidifying bag, like those bean bags you can get, in the car when you park it up at night, that absorbs the majority of the stuff, the majority of the moisture in the air. So when you go to start it up and drive away in the morning, you don't have the traditional ice on the inside of the screen, which a lot of Defenders do suffer.
Yeah, you can get that. I've got the advantage where I park between two buildings. Yeah. Like my house and next door's. And it's kind of like you don't get the frost on the windscreen, so I'm quite lucky.
Oh, that's good.
But I get misting on the inside. But if the Land Rover's parked at the end, exposed, it does get frosted up.
Yeah.
It's ages to demist.
It's not much fun, is it, first thing in the morning?
Not really.
Do you know what else isn't much fun? Having your driver's door frozen shut. Ever had that?
I've had the door lock frozen up.
The lock freezes up.
Yeah.
And also, if you haven't, silicone spray is the best thing I've found. Spray the outer edge of the door seal with silicone spray, and it stops it freezing the door frame to the seal. What's your method with de-icing door locks then?
Well,
because yours doesn't have central locking, does it?
No, you have to put the key in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I did last time?
Go on.
And this happened last winter. It hasn't happened yet. I got a lighter.
Yeah.
Warmed the key up.
Yeah.
And poked it in the lock. And every time I put it in and it reheated it, it went in a little bit further. It's properly solid.
That's how I've
frozen.
Yeah, that's how I've done it in the past.
Yeah. And you've got to be careful not to melt the plastic bit on the end. So you hit the end up, because actually, and it was just going through, and in the end, I got in. Tell you what else, right? So people with like Range Rover Velas where the handles come out.
Oh, yeah.
They can freeze up.
I bet they can,
Yeah, they won't come out. And the other thing, right, we've got onto ice now, is, like Freelander rear doors.
Yeah.
When the window drops.
Just come down.
And then when they're frozen, they go, and they make no noise.
Quite quickly ruin a window regulator.
You can, and you've just got to be really careful.
That's another good one for silicone spray. Silicone spray all around the window seal.
To stop it freezing.
Yeah. And on the felt runners and things like that on your traditional doors.
Yeah. This is
because honestly, you can cause a lot of money's worth of damage if you don't. If you, that's a great example. The Freelander window not dropping. Ask
me how I know.
Have you snapped a cable in a Freelander door?
It made a god awful noise, and then the window wouldn't go back up again. And I can't remember how we fixed it now, but I've owned, I don't know, 3 different Freelander ones.
Yeah.
It was the one my mate has now got. Farmer David still got it. Still uses it.
Legend.
Still going well. Tell you what else, right? And I've made a note of this, right? Every year when it snows, right? Your local, you get your local news.
Yeah, of course.
There's always a hero, isn't there, and a defender.
Yeah.
Tow an HGV out.
Quite. Yeah, indeed.
What's your thoughts on that?
I quite like it, to be fair.
Would you do it?
I've done it, not with a HGV. I've pulled a lot of cars out in my time with my Defender.
I've pulled cars out, but you see somebody snaking all over the road with a rope.
All 4 wheels.
And then, someone's like shared it and it's gone a bit viral.
Yeah.
And then the news picks it up. I don't know where you stand with insurance.
I don't think people tend to worry about that when they're doing it, but I do agree with you, because if someone got injured or you really did yourself a mischief,
I would be a bit, you all right for your 5 minutes of fame or 15 minutes of fame on the local news. Well, imagine the strain you're putting through your Defender, all 4 wheels spinning up on ice. You are putting strain through it.
You are, but
Towing a 40-ton lorry out.
if you haven't got tons of grip, you're probably not putting that much strain through it. It's when you grip suddenly that it causes real issues.
Oh, you see it, don't you? Tramping.
Yeah, the axles start bouncing up and down and half shafts snapping. And
I would be like, that transport manager isn't going to ring you up and go, here's a few grand for your new transmission. They don't care.
No, what you're
saving.
you're doing it totally at your own risk, aren't you?
You are.
I think anyone would go knocking and saying, hang on, like, I've broken my Land Rover, pulling you out, it's your problem.
But I would be really, really careful, right? So I've come across cars in ditches before.
Mm-hmm.
Not always in winter, but just generally. And I've helped a few people out. But if somebody came around that same corner,
Yeah.
and you're in the road and they smash into you, because you see recovery trucks at the side of motorways. You see these videos all the time, don't you? Recovery drivers to get almost taken out by
People not saying it's
You've got to be really careful,
Yeah.
especially in the winter. If that car's got in a ditch because there's slips on ice and you're towing them out, somebody else might run into you. Just be mindful, I would say.
That's a very good point.
I'm not being like
Safety, Steve.
safety Steve, because I think, we have gone too far the other way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But
Absolutely.
where there's a blame, there's a claim.
Yeah, you have really. It's never been more important to cover your own backside, really, with stuff like that, and just do be careful. But don't stop putting the videos online, because they are good fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What else? Antifreeze, coolant.
When was the last time you checked yours?
I check it recently. I check it quite a lot, actually. After even though I've rewired the sensor in, I still don't trust it. So I do check it manually.
Yeah.
And I know that the mixture is right, because when I did all that work, I made sure I refilled it with 50-50 mix.
So somebody doing their home mechanics then, or home servicing.
Yeah.
Very rarely do they change antifreeze, do they?
It's quite a long life item now, because of how
yeah.
technology's come on, and modern coolants last 10 years or something stupid.
Yeah,
like that.
150,000 miles or something.
The orange or pink coolant, which is OAT, lasts a lot longer than the old style blue glycol. So that needs changing every 3 years, I think it is. Generally speaking, I mean, I run the old blue stuff in the Series 3, and that's a part every year at least. So I
Like it is now.
It's almost back together.
Fantastic. Is it running?
It's at that point where, as I said, there's loads of tiny little niggly jobs. Like yesterday, I was out in the garage and it was freezing cold, and I was adding extra earths to all the lights and things like that. It's just fiddly little jobs that need finishing now.
If you don't do it now, you never will you?
No, exactly.
Back on the road.
And if you spend the time doing all these little improvements now, while it's a pain and you want to be out driving the thing, it does pay off down the road, because you're not chasing faults and wondering why things don't work and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah. Tell you what, right? So another thing, right? Driving on the other day, I thought, who's out on a motorbike in this night? It wasn't. It was a van, but it's offside headlight. So driver's side in the UK's headlight was out.
I don't know how people, especially this time of year when it's dark at 4 o'clock or earlier, how people either they don't realise or they can't be bothered to change a headlight bulb, because you'll get pulled over very, very
immediately. I mean, if your headlight bulb's going to go out, the near side one on the passenger side is the one that you want to go out, because at least you're. Yeah, but it looked like it's only when I was on it, like almost level with it.
Yeah.
Did I see that it was a van?
It's really bad.
Because it was
isn't
dark and it's misty and it's raining or sleet, whatever.
You've got to be, it's basic stuff. Tyres as
No,
well.
people.
How many times do you walking down the road, or you're in a car park of like a, I don't know, shopping centre car park or whatever, and someone's swung into the space and they've left their wheels on lock, and you look at tyres and they're pretty much bald.
I see it all the time.
It,
I didn't know. I thought I was the only person who did that.
no, I love.
Me and the police.
Yeah,
Well, no, that's illegal.
well, that's officer safety, Steve, to you. But no, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And you think that's one person you've spotted while out walking. How many people are driving around with slick tyres, essentially? Or cords hanging out, or chunks of sidewall. It takes 5 minutes to have a quick look at your tyres and check the pressures.
You know, but again, people don't drive to conditions. They don't appreciate tyres. I'd like to think that all of our listeners, every single one of our listeners and readers of the magazine, know a bit about mechanicals and tyres.
Yeah.
And we're enthusiasts, so we're going to know more. But the general motorists out there, it's a scary place to be.
It makes me smile when people say, well, that should be part of the driving test. And there is a bit more practical side to that, like checking levels and pointing out things on the bonnet.
Of course.
But it's the same when anyone passes their driving test. Like the things you've learned, and you
like a 10-2 steering.
don't palm the steering wheel. Like,
Yeah.
check your mirrors every 6 seconds. You don't remember to do that. You're not going to remember to check your tyres, are you?
Well, you should.
But you should, because they are
Probably the number one safety.
one of the
that and
most
brakes.
safety critical things, and also choosing the right tyres.
Yeah.
I would argue.
Yeah.
Pretty much every other country in Europe you have mandatory winter or all-season tyres for certain months of the year. We don't, and with the weather the way it is, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Imagine the uproar if that came in, that you have to have a second set of tyres in the UK.
Oh no, certain brands. I know BMW. They offer a service where you can drive in. Again, it's not actually the law in this country to do it, but they'll recommend, all right, we're getting into the point where the weather's getting colder, you can have a second set of wheels and tyres. They will swap them when you take it in for service. They will store the summer set for you.
Really?
And then, and then you can go in 6 months later or whenever and have them swapped over again. But, I don't know. But then a lot of all-terrains and things like that people fit to Land Rovers to use year-round are a lot better in snow and ice than your general road tyre, your summer road tyre. So,
yeah, of course, yeah.
I don't know. Tyres are a bit of a minefield when it comes to that sort of side of things, I think.
But I think generally, though, people need to just have a look around their vehicles and double-check things are okay.
It's absolutely. And that, well, it passed MOT 8 months ago, doesn't mean a thing.
No.
As long as it passes the test on the day, it could be hanging the rest of the year. You can't base whether a car is roadworthy off that, unfortunately.
Tell you what I do keep behind the seats in my Defender.
Do I want to know the answer to
Well, not that. The other thing, cakes, biscuits. No, I've got a little fold-out shovel.
Oh yeah, I've got one of them at
A
home.
little folding shovel goes in it. It's from like Draper, I think it's from.
Yeah.
And it folds out. Just, you never know, do you? Get a bit stuck.
Get caught short.
For all the crap I talk.
Yeah, no, anything like that. It's that sort of thing where if someone saw it in your car, they'd probably think you're a bit silly, but you'd be the one laughing if ever you needed it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's just behind the seats. You just don't know it's there, really.
Well,
I know it's there.
Otherwise, green laning this time of year. We've been through it before. Don't go mud plugging and smashing green lanes up. Obviously, that goes without saying. But also, if you're going green laning where there is snow, probably best to not go by yourself.
Yeah.
And even if you aren't going by yourself, take things like basic stuff like a blanket and some food, just in case you do have a problem and you haven't got any phone signal, or maybe you have got phone signal, but it's a long walk to where you're going. If you've got your family with you, just think ahead a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good. Do you know what a handy little thing to have? It's a jet boil.
Oh yeah, ideal.
So a jet boil, for anyone that doesn't know, is essentially a way of heating water up very, very quickly.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone should own a jet boil.
I do. I completely agree with you.
So boiled water, like a mug of water in.
It's
under a minute.
no time.
30 seconds.
Absolutely brilliant. Literally no excuse to not have a cup of tea or coffee wherever you are.
Yeah. We've used of those, haven't we?
Yeah.
On our Land Rover travels.
Definitely. And actually, even if, like for normal use, camping, things like that, if you've got like instant noodles or other food that you just need boiling water for, you've got a hot meal in seconds. And they're so good.
You're going to go out on a bit of an adventure in the winter.
Yeah.
Make some stuff like that.
Jet boils,
never know.
Great bit of kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've done our bit on winter. If you've got any top tips yourself that we might not have heard of, for instance, Steve's shaving foam on the inside of the windscreen, which I'm still not entirely sure.
Which I'm going to try and see if it works. Use it sparingly. That's what I was told. So,
well, I'll leave you to try that and you can report back.
I will. I'll report back.
So we've had quite a bit of correspondence, haven't we, from listeners and readers lately, and we'll run through a few of them, shall we?
What's scary is how many people are wrong.
Wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know where we're going with this.
We're going down the meal deal thing again, right? Have we had more people contact us about the order in which the correct or the wrong way of eating a meal deal?
There have been
more than Land Rover content. It's turned into the how do you eat yours?
There's been a significant number of people getting in touch about which order you eat foods in, and I thought we would.
Well, we'd covered this off last week.
I thought we.
I've had emails. You've had emails. Yeah.
But yeah. Basically, it seems like very. It's a hotly contested thing, There's been people in both camps. I think this is what, and it's definitely a hill people choose to die on. Like they really feel passionately.
Yeah. I didn't realise people actually shared my same views.
Not that many, but yeah.
Oh yeah, enough.
Daniel Perry is actually a great example. We emailed yesterday and said, probably a bit late now as I'm catching up on the podcasts, but yes, sandwich then crisps, burger then chips. Anything else is just odd. And I emailed him back saying, thanks, Daniel. Great to hear the voice of reason today. All the best. And then signed off. So a fine example of someone who's actually correct.
Sorry, Daniel, but you're not correct.
Anyway,
moving on. Got another letter here.
Let's have it. Go on.
Ben Wyant. Hello from Seattle in the States.
Oh.
So hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
My son Jameson and I are big fans. Well, thanks very much.
Cheers.
His son, I think he says, is a huge Land Rover fan and enjoys listening every week. And we enjoy going to car museums to see cool and historically important vehicles. We have been to the Dunsfold Collection and the British Motor Museum.
Cool.
And love those places. Why do you think that Land Rover doesn't have a dedicated museum to its history like other important car brands like Porsche, BMW and Ferrari?
Well, in a way they do.
They do, and we've been to it.
We have. We've been lucky enough to go to JLR Classic Works at Ryton, which is it's in Warwickshire. It is, on the face of it, it's a dealership that sells reborn and, classic Land Rover and Jaguar products. But little do many people know, you can actually book a tour where you go around you can chill out in the showroom, but you also go around the workshop where they do all the work to these.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
Which is just amazing.
Inspirational.
And if you're not mind blown enough by the workshop, then you get to go out the back where they keep all the historically significant and all sorts of development models and film cars and all sorts in what they call the toy box, which is like the enormous storage area out the back. And it is just absolute heaven.
It's rammed, isn't it?
It is incredible.
And this is a mix of Jaguar and Land Rover vehicles.
Yeah.
But they're like 3 cars deep, 2 cars high, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you can just walk from one end to the other and it's like, what on earth is
every
this?
time you go, you see something that you didn't see the time before. I just had a look on their website. It's £70 for a tour. So I would recommend when you come over to the UK again, come and do that.
Yeah.
You won't be
I
disappointed.
would definitely do that.
Absolutely fantastic.
But Dunsfold Collection, not forgetting, he could visit Dunsfold again. They've probably rejigged their whole museum and they swap things out, don't they? So they don't have the same exhibits.
They're all on rotation. So there'll be stuff at the Dunsfold Museum that you didn't see last time you were here. They've just, I won't give too much away because there's an amazing feature in the next issue of Land Rover Monthly about it. They've just put together a camel trophy. They've called it Camel Corner. It's an absolutely amazing collection of artifacts and the trophies from the Camel Trophy at Dunsfold Museum. I'm going to go back to the Dunsfold Museum just to see that because it looks awesome. So don't miss that before they rotate that out. But that will be there for a while, I should think.
Yeah. Well, that sounds excellent. The other thing we should say to Ben is that you can drive some of the Land Rovers, can't you? The classic.
Yes, they do their classic driving experiences as well, which are based. I think they're at Fenend still, in up the road from JLR Classic.
Okay.
And they've got all sorts of Series 1s, Range Rover Classics, Early Discovery, Defenders, and you get to go for a ride and also drive them around an off-road course. And yeah, that's a really good day out as well. Been lucky enough to go there and do that. Would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums up Land Rover in the UK, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, a lot of I think the British Motor Museum is a fantastic collection, and that's got a lot of the history there.
It has. Because Huey's based there, isn't it?
Yeah, but definitely, I would say JLR Classic, 100%. Go and have a look.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed going to JLR Classic,
and all lovely people as well, and very knowledgeable. They're really into it, so yeah, make sure you go and see JLR Classic. 100% would recommend.
Cool.
So we've had another email from Will Asker. I think I sent this one on to you to have a look at, didn't I, Steve? It's the guy who's got a very, very cool 110 single cab.
Oh, yes.
And he's also restoring, I think he said at his work, yes, a winterized Wolf.
Well, talk about winter driving. There you
go. It doesn't get much better than a winterized Wolf. Soft top. He's done a lovely job on it. He said evening, well, it's evening as I type this anyway. I've been listening to your back catalogue of podcasts for the last few weeks at work, and I'm really loving them. I'm currently restoring a Defender 90 winterized Wolf. They're fairly normal looking things, but only around 50 were built, so they're pretty special. As I've been sanding it down for days on end, I've been thinking of random hypothetical questions while listening to your podcast. And what I think is one of the best is simply, what is the coolest engine swap for an old Land Rover? Personally, I think the Cummins 6BT's got to be up there. Mercedes OM606. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the matter. My plan is to do a Larry engine swap into my old 101 one day. I'm pretty sure 90% of Land Rover owners say something similar, so who knows? Keep up the great work with the podcast and the magazine. Top draw stuff. And he sent a picture over of the Wolf and a very cool picture of his 110, which I think is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so I like the Cummins 6BT engine, but your Land Rover is always going to sound like a dust cart. Not a dust car, I joke, but they're a very agricultural sounding engine.
They are a truck engine. This is so difficult to say. We've kind of covered this before, but I guess half the fun and half the greatness of Land Rovers is there's so many different options. I think if everyone sort of sat in the same camp, it would be a bit boring. For me, one of the best combinations of in a Land Rover I've driven is the BMW M57 straight 6 3-litre diesel with 8-speed automatic gearbox.
I know we've said this before, but I would agree with you.
Talking of,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. Yesterday on Facebook, someone has put an M57 and an 8-speed in a Range Rover L405. So the latest shape, but the shape before.
Yeah.
And it looks so cool. I guess they still suffer from the crankshaft issues on the V6s. The V8s are all right, I think. But this guy clearly took it upon himself to go, do you know what? I'm going to stick a BMW engine in that. So he did.
It's mad, isn't it? You would never have thought someone would do that.
The integration of getting everything to work is like serious stuff.
Seriously clever people around.
So for me, I get where people come from with the Cummins. I think it's quite cool. They're good fun. I've been around a couple. I've never driven one with the Cummins. I've been around Mercedes engined ones. I think the Mercedes engine is what you go for if you just want ridiculous high-end power. And all mechanical as well, because a BMW engine's ECU controlled, whereas you can quite easily make the Mercedes engine run off a purely mechanical pump. So it's like a TDI.
Which may suit that kind of vehicle because it's like
Yeah, I think so.
military and it's.
His is the pickup, but yeah.
He's putting that engine in a pickup.
Yeah, in his pickup.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I quite like that. You can't make the BMW one fully mechanical, but you can make the Mercedes one fully mechanical, which is quite cool. But for me, for all-round use, I'd go M57 8-speed gearbox.
Yeah, me too. There you go.
There you go.
When he's done it, email editorial, email us back.
Let us know, because the 110 is so cool. It's like dark green, single cab, white wolf wheels, and he's like done the suspension so it sits level, because Defenders normally sit up at the back, especially in commercials. He's got it bang level, and it looks so cool. So, top work wheel.
There you go.
We're proud to partner with Adrian Flux, an insurance broker that specialises in covering all types of Land Rovers, including classic, ex-military, modified and Q-plated models. Adrian Flux offers a range of optional extras to make the policy your own and can provide cover for off-roading, green laning, agreed value and build-up cover. Plus, they even offer a discount of up to 15% for Owners Club members. Simply search Adrian Flux Land Rover Insurance for more information or call them directly on 0344 728 0417 for a quote.
We've had another email from Jonathan Corrie, who got in touch off the back of us asking if stickers were sort of done and dusted, if they'd had their day.
Oh, right, okay.
He disagrees. He said, I'm sat listening to another of your podcasts while incarcerated on a train, travelling for work. Seems like a lot of people listen to us on the train. Probably quieter than listening in your Land Rover, to be fair, isn't it?
You probably don't hear us.
The topic of stickers popped up, and needless to say, in the G4 Owners Club, we love them. He's clearly in the G4 Owners Club. It's funny, one of the key reasons why people join up to the club is so they get a discount on club-supplied reproduced decals when the originals wear out. Hopefully, because we're a nice bunch, is the reason to stay. Keep up the great work, John. And he sent a picture of a lovely L322 G4 and a Disco 3 and a Defender. I think that's a bit greedy, isn't it, to have 3?
You're just jealous because there's an L322 in there.
Yeah, I've got a serious hankering for an L322 still.
Do you realise every time? So myself and Martin, we probably see each other like 2, possibly 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And you mention L322s every single
time.
time.
I can't help it.
At least
I really like them. Anyway, yes, Jonathan, you are 100% correct. I think what I was getting at was the sort of really cheesy, like neon yellow and orange stickers that just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But period correct stickers and things like that.
It makes total sense.
Less is more, though.
These beautiful 3 absolutely stunning G4 cars, if the stickers were all faded and peeling and horrible, then yeah, they wouldn't look nearly as good as they do. So yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I mean, and the fact that there's companies out there reproducing decals for like early discoveries now as well. You can get the Defender stripes remade, and you can also buy. Yeah. I think there's some places have got new old stock of the old Defender stripes, which is pretty cool. I get where you're coming from. It wasn't. Yeah, maybe we should have been more specific with the question. But yeah. So where are we? Right, here we go. Another question from a guy I went to school with, actually, called Kieran.
Oh, right.
He's got a Discovery 3, but he had a Freelander 1 years ago, and he's kept hold of it, and he's trying to revive it. He says, "Hello, mate. Long time no speak. I've been bringing my old Freelander back from the dead, listening to your podcast in the garage."
Result.
Happy days. The availability of second-hand parts is diminishing. You don't see that many old-shaped Freelanders on the road these days. I'll tell you what a lot of that was. Well, for us, there was a lot of Freelander 1s being broken and like being uneconomical to repair. In fact, Paul Myers was talking about this as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, prop shaft disappears, gets chucked.
Yeah, they have like an expensive, like I need a clutch and flywheel, so people
£1,000.
Not worth it. I'll scrap the car.
Yeah.
I think that is the main reason, and the fact that the spares were worth so little for so long, so a lot of breakers didn't really bother with them, that the sort of part supply is drying up quickly.
I see, yes.
He says you don't really see many of that old-shaped Freelanders on the road these days.
So I still think you do.
I think you see a few. Considering their age, I think you do see...
We've said this before, haven't we? Comparative cars of its year, you don't see many SUVs around, do you?
Definitely not. He says it occurred. Blah, blah, blah. it occurred to me that even in its heyday, I don't think I saw that many of my colour, the one that he's got, which he thinks is called Kent Green. Is there a way of looking up to see how many of a certain colour were produced and how many are remaining? Now, I don't know about doing it by colour, but if you were to do it by spec and engine and things like that, you've got how many left, which a lot of people say isn't very accurate, the website, which I think uses DVLA data.
Okay, yeah, it says how many are currently sawned.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how many of which year, which engine, which trim level are still around, which are on the road and which sawned. Which, yeah, I don't know how accurate that is. My advice would be, because they do heritage certificates for pretty much everything else, British Motor Museum Archive, send them a message and you can ask them to look things up. So if you've got a query, you can send it over. I think it's like £10 per query or something, and they'll go into the archive, look it up for you and get back to you. Or get a heritage certificate, which might have more information on how many of that colour, if it was a limited colour, were made, things like that. So I'd go down that route, to be honest, Kieran. And good to hear from you as well, and that you've still got the Freelander. Good old boy.
There you go.
Yeah. All good fun. So, shall I drop a little teaser about the next issue? Because we're almost, by the time this podcast goes out, it will be with subscribers within a day or two of the podcast going live. So shall we drop a little teaser out there?
Yeah, go on then.
Shall we?
If we listen very carefully, you could probably hear it being printed as we speak.
Probably, yeah. It's
Yeah,
just literally over there.
To the print works, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. We've been beavering away as usual on the magazine.
Yeah, I like you users because I need to know what's in there as well.
The very
I do know.
listener to you, of course you know, Steve. So, I'm actually going to focus on the classic section this week, and we'll do feature of the week again next week. But the classic section this week is really, really cool, and it shows just how diverse classic, in loose quotation mark, Land Rovers are, because we've got a feature which I really, really like is Gary Pusey's done an awesome job, as usual, behind the scenes of the Range Rover L322 launch.
So, surprise, L322s been mentioned again.
I love them.
Do me a favour, right? Just go and buy one.
Reading this feature has made me, oh my God, they're so cool.
Made you want one?
Yeah.
Yeah? More than you did yesterday?
If you like L322s, like I do, this feature will knock your socks off. So basically, it's Nick Dimbleby, obviously.
Wow. Yeah.
Very well-known Land Rover photographer. Was leading the pack on the L322 launch. Done a fantastic job. A lot of photography from him in this feature. And thank you very much, Nick, for letting us use those images. And Roger Craythorne, of course, Mr. Land Rover himself, had a big input into the launch. So we got it's behind the scene stories from all the guys that were there, things that, weren't public knowledge at the time, the way things work, the logistics behind such an enormous launch, and some incredible pictures of these early Range Rovers. They're on 51 plates. They're that early, up in Scotland doing these technical off-road tracks and, water crossings. It's all snowy and it just looks absolutely amazing. So be sure to get the January issue of Land Rover Monthly when it goes on sale, which will be a few days after this podcast goes out. So don't miss it.
So the official on-sale date for that issue is the 4th of December.
Yes.
2024.
You are absolutely right, Steve.
Yeah.
So
finger on the pulse, Martin.
Yeah, you're smashing it.
Yeah.
And subscribers, this is the thing, you see. This is why you need to subscribe. Subscribers get their issue a few days earlier. And it gets delivered straight to your door, and you save a load of money. So why wouldn't you just subscribe to the mag?
Anyone listening, right? So talk to your other half or
leave subtle
hints. A subscription to Land Rover Monthly isn't just a Christmas gift for that day, but they get a gift throughout the entire year.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing people don't realise is it's not a monthly magazine as such, even though it's called Land Rover Monthly. It's actually every 4 weeks, so you get 13 issues in 12 months.
Yes.
A little bonus.
So, make sure you subscribe, and then you save money and get it delivered to your door.
Absolutely.
No need to hunt it out in the newsagents.
Right. Shall we have product of the week?
Yeah.
Right then.
You seem organised. I reckon you've got one lined up.
Well, you say that, Steve. You might not be...
I'm buying you some time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right. So, how many times have you been in your shed or your workshop and you've needed to, blow some swarf out of a corner or do some painting or blow up a tyre or thing. Maybe you need to adjust your tyre pressures because it's winter.
I use my compressor a lot.
Well, there you go. Clark are now offering a low noise compressor, which is exactly what you need because your compressor is loud enough to wake the dead.
Now, we've spoken about this, and I'm going to write a review about my compressor in an upcoming issue of LRM.
Yeah, do that. It's a good compressor, but
It is a very good compressor, but
anyway,
everyone knows it's on.
Clark have done this special low noise compressor, and he's actually, to be fair, around this price point, this one is £154.80 brand new. A lot of compressors, when you're buying at that sort of end of the market, are very, very noisy.
Are these like the middle aisle of Lidl's or Aldi type compressors?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Well, Clark have spent a lot of time refining a more budget-friendly compressor, and this is what they've come up with. So it runs at 62 decibels, which is pretty good for a 150 odd quid compressor, I think you'll agree. 1.5 horsepower motor, brilliant for smaller air tools, and you can also upgrade it with, in fact, you can buy a different model which has got a 50-litre tank and a 3.5 horsepower motor, which is better for like prolonged like needle gunning and spraying and things like that.
How many litres is this one?
This one is 24 litres.
Okay.
So about half the
So
size.
really, really compact size.
Yeah. So ideal for occasional use, and you're not going to upset all your neighbours because it's not, actually 62 decibels is pretty quiet for a compressor.
Yeah.
Machine Mart, you can buy them from machinemart.co.uk. And yeah, £154.80, which I think is pretty decent for what looks like a very well built compressor as well.
I think every workshop should have one.
I've got one now.
Yeah. Good.
At home and in the unit. Yeah, it's quite good. They are handy to have. They're one of those things where you'll go like weeks without using it and then you'll think, oh, perfect. It's here, sat, ready to go.
Good.
So yeah, would recommend. That looks like a really decent tool for the money. Right then. I think, hang on, have we got any more listeners' questions? Oh no, I'm all of a fluster now. Let's just double check. Sorry about this. Right, I think we've cleared them all actually. I'll talk about the other classic feature in the mag next week. We'll do another little teaser because that'll be the day it goes on sale.
Okay.
And then that will really, if you're not already excited by my banging on about L322s, you definitely will be after I've told you about this other classic feature. So yeah, hold on to your socks.
I think we should launch a crowdfunding thing to buy you an L322.
Do you think?
Yeah. I'll see £1 in.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, thanks. Anyway, yeah, one thing we're quite rubbish at doing is asking you to leave a rating for the podcast. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify or whatever, just leave us a rating. And if you could spend an extra 30 seconds and bash out a little review, we'd really appreciate that. Because
yeah, but you're only allowed to leave 5-star ratings.
No, that's not true. You can leave whatever you think is fair.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of begging, give us a like and a follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, /Twitter or whatever you call it these days, YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. We've had a good number of new subscribers recently. The first video of me stripping the Series 3 is out on the driveway, and that seems to be doing quite well. People are engaging with it and finding it quite fun.
I like reading the comments on the videos because you're always a little bit wary, aren't you? You think, what are they going to say? But actually, people are very positive because it's real world stuff.
People, one of the comments was, "Oh, you're brave doing it on a gravel driveway."
Well, yeah,
we're keeping it real.
Yeah, where do you when you finally come around my house and help me do my project, we'll be doing it.
I'll get stones stuck in my knees around your house.
Oh man, the gravel,
great.
Yeah, we should do a podcast on the perfect workshop.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and then we can sell ourselves a dream workshop.
Yeah.
Heating
floor
at this time of year.
Definitely.
How motivated are you not to go in your workshop?
My hands were frozen doing those just little making up wires and things last night. I thought it'd be all right to put a pair of nitrile gloves on, just that'll be enough, and it was not enough.
-2 was right.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm probably going to be out there again tonight, actually, finishing up. So, happy days. I look forward to being cold again. Cool. Well, I think we'll wrap that up for this week.
And then we'll see you next week.
See you then.